What Nigerians are witnessing right now is one of the most serious legal and security conversations this country has had in years, and it revolves around one sensitive issue: how far the law can go in dealing with anyone linked directly or indirectly to banditry and terrorism. At the center of this conversation is Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, a well-known Islamic cleric whose past actions and statements are now being examined under a new and tougher security mindset. This is not gossip. This is not social media noise. This is a real issue that could shape how Nigeria handles insecurity going forward. So please like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the full breakdown. For years, Nigerians have watched banditry grow from isolated attacks into a nationwide threat. Villages were attacked, highways became unsafe, kidnappings increased, and families were torn apart. The government responded with military operations, but alongside that, there were voices calling for dialogue. One of the loudest voices in that group was Sheikh Gumi. He openly visited bandit camps, spoke to their leaders, and argued that negotiation was necessary to end the violence. At the time, some Nigerians supported him, believing he was trying to save lives. Others strongly disagreed, saying his actions gave criminals legitimacy. Now, the tide has clearly turned. The major issue today is that Nigeria's security laws are no longer looking at terrorism in a narrow way. The thinking has changed. Authorities are no longer focusing only on the people carrying weapons in the forest. They are now looking at the full chain. Who talks to them? Who supports them? Who speaks on their behalf? Who encourages them, and who creates a room for them to operate? This is where things become serious, and this is why Gumi's name keeps coming up in discussions around life imprisonment. Under the strengthened anti-terrorism framework, anyone accused of assisting terrorists in any form can face very severe punishment. Assistance does not only mean carrying a gun. It can mean providing advice, moral support, negotiation channels, or public statements that appear to justify or normalize violent groups. The argument from security agencies is simple. Once you give terrorists attention, access, or public sympathy, you weaken national security. Whether your intention is peace or not becomes a secondary issue. What matters is the impact. Please, if this explanation is helping you understand what is going on, like this video and subscribe now. It really helps the channel grow. Supporters of Sheikh Gumi insist that he never carried weapons, never funded violence, and never asked people to attack anyone. They argue that his mission was to reduce bloodshed and protect innocent lives. They say that dialogue has worked in other conflicts around the world and that Nigeria should not criminalize peace efforts. According to them, punishing someone like Gumi could discourage future mediators and close possible paths to peace. On the other side, critics say Nigeria is not dealing with political rebels or protesters, but hardened criminal groups who kidnap children, burn villages, and terrorize communities. They argue that calling such groups misunderstood or neglected sends the wrong message. In their view, any negotiation strengthens criminals by making them feel recognized. This is why many legal voices are saying that people who speak or act in ways that appear to defend bandits should be investigated thoroughly. This is where the idea of life imprisonment enters the conversation. The law allows extremely heavy punishment if someone is found guilty of supporting terrorism. Life imprisonment is not automatic, but it becomes possible if prosecutors can prove that a person's actions helped terrorists operate, survive, or gain public acceptance. That is why Nigerians are hearing strong language from lawmakers and security officials. The goal is deterrence. The message is clear. No one should act as a bridge between the state and violent groups without legal authorization. Please remember to like this video and subscribe. We are breaking this down in simple English so everyone can understand. Another important point Nigerians need to understand is that this issue is not only about Sheikh Gumi as a person, it is bigger than him. It is about setting a precedent. Once the law is applied to one high-profile figure, it sends a signal to everyone else. Religious leaders, community elders, activists, and even politicians will think twice before engaging with criminal groups. The government wants to close all informal channels and place full control in the hands of the state. However, this approach also raises serious questions. What happens in communities where the government has little presence? What happens when villagers are forced to speak to armed groups just to survive? Where does the law draw the line between survival, mediation, and collaboration? These are the difficult questions Nigerians are now debating. And there are no easy answers. Sheikh Gumi himself has maintained that he is being misunderstood. He has repeatedly said that his aim was to expose the truth about insecurity and push the government toward solutions beyond military force. He believes that poverty, neglect, and injustice are root causes that must be addressed. But in today's legal climate, intention alone may not be enough to protect anyone. The law focuses on consequences, not personal explanations. As this situation develops, many Nigerians are watching closely to see what the government will do next. Will there be formal charges? Will there be investigations? Will the law be tested in court? Or will this remain a strong warning meant to silence informal engagement with bandits? Whatever happens, one thing is certain: the era of open negotiation with armed groups is ending in Nigeria. Please like this video and subscribe if you want to keep getting clear, calm, and well-explained news without noise or confusion. Now, the big question Nigerians are asking is this: can a country fight insecurity effectively without any form of dialogue? Some experts say total force can lead to endless conflict. Others say any form of dialogue equals weakness. Nigeria is now choosing a hard-line path, and Sheikh Gumi's situation is the clearest example of that shift. Another serious concern being discussed quietly is freedom of speech. Some Nigerians fear that tough laws could be used to silence criticism or unpopular opinions. They worry that speaking honestly about insecurity could be interpreted as sympathy for criminals. This is why legal experts are calling for clear guidelines. The difference between analysis, criticism, mediation, and support must be clearly defined, or innocent voices could be affected. For Sheikh Gumi, the road ahead is uncertain. Even if no charges are filed, his public role has already changed. Invitations, movements, and statements will now be watched more closely. This is how law works sometimes. Even without conviction, pressure alone can reshape influence. Supporters say this is unfair. Critics say this is necessary. One thing that stands out is that Nigeria is sending a message both inside and outside the country. To international observers, the government is saying it is serious about fighting terrorism. To locals, it is saying there will be no special treatment. Whether this approach brings peace or more tension is something only time will tell. Please remember to like this video and subscribe so you can stay informed as this story unfolds.